Cosatu has reported a loss in its financial report to the Federation's 14th National Conference at Midrand, north of Johannesburg. The Federation reported a decline in revenue collection from its members, and it cited job losses, a closing of factories and poor economic growth during COVID-19 as reasons. The Federation's financial position on assets also continued to decline. The report also provided analysis of the Federation's financial position for the year 2019 to 2021. Let's get more from what's coming out of that 14th National Conference of Cosatu as we catch up with our reporter, Katlego Legodi. Katlego, the financial position of Cosatu laid bare, I hear.
A very good morning to you, Naledi. Most definitely, that is one of the reports that was presented here in the past 3 days. We saw the political report being discussed here on the ground. We saw yesterday the socio-economic report coming to the spotlight as well, and the financial report that you mentioned there in terms of the finances of the Federation for the past years. You can imagine that the union or the Federation is saying to us that it has struggled a lot to make ends meet. This is as most of the industries, the unions have also experienced, a tough time in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic that affected a lot of industries. We saw job losses as well, and that report just being clear also about the role of the unions in keeping the Federation alive. You can imagine that most of the work of the Federation is dependent on the affiliates and those contributions that they make on a monthly basis, but that has not been the case. When we look at what has happened in the past few years, because the unions themselves have struggled. They asked those Section 189 processes that were initiated by various companies, private and government. Most of them people here saying that also the public sector has struggled a bit to make ends meet in terms of just making sure that they keep afloat, looking at the fact that the socio-economic challenges on the ground have really been real for most of the workers here, which is why you find them here just calling for a resolution really in terms of what can move the Federation forward and how the workers that are here can be assisted. This has seen debates as well coming out of members of the Federation that have gathered here in the 4 days, just trying by all means to ensure that those issues are ventilated here. You can imagine that this is not a congress that happens annually. So when there's an opportunity like this to meet, that is where policies are being discussed. The labor force, we are told, has been under immense pressure. So I'm just going to bring in Mr. Bekin Chali from Cosatu, who will just let us in really on what we can expect today. Sir, thank you very much for joining us on SABC. It's been a tough 3 days where discussions are concerned. We saw a lot of issues come under the spotlight. Maybe just reflect with us on how the 3 days have been and what we can expect really today.
I think the 3 days has been a mix of things. Remembering that in the first day we lost time by the protest by our members and refusing to allow the ANC to speak. But we are recovering on those time. We are hoping that the two outstanding section of our report, which is the socio-economic, very important one, and the international will be able to conclude. Workers voted yesterday. We are expecting to get the result this afternoon before we leave and listen to the newly elected president addressing us.
Maybe touch base with us on the issues of the sexual harassment incidents coming out yesterday. We saw it dominating most of the talks here on the ground. Really, can you just give us an update where that is concerned?
No, our team that deal with the sexual harassment did the investigation. They came to a different, but not inconclusive. First is that they were not able to talk to the alleged perpetrators. They were unable to talk to the alleged victims. But what we know is that the victim is not a Cosatu, or alleged victim is not a Cosatu candidate, that the matter did not happen in the Cosatu conferences or around the Cosatu conference. It happened outside where people went out to socialize. We know the alleged perpetrators, But because the matter is sub judice, as we're told he was arrested, we could not delve with at the Congress. But we set up processes that the union concerned will be able to investigate and find all the facts.
Mr. Bekinchalinjari, thank you very much, sir, for your time. The General Secretary of Cosatu joining us there to just lay the land for what Day 4 is all about, or what we can expect on Day 4. A very busy, a long National Congress, but the workers here will be looking forward to just wrapping up the day in terms of concrete resolutions that would come out that would move the issues of the workers forward. Back to you in studio, Naledi.
Thank you so much. That's Katlego Legodi, our reporter, keeping a close eye on the 14th National Congress.